the adherents only see us as soil to feed their dying homeland. Why should we know?
You're back! What have you found? Ah, poor Wilfred. A keen eye for botany. He loved to write about the plants he found. Please, keep searching. I'm sure the others will turn up soon.
It's my friend of the Emperor. You got a spring in your step. Is there something you want to tell me? No shit. Is it a special occasion? Should I wear my nice shorts?
Strictly a casual affair, though a touch of cologne wouldn't hurt.
It's been a long time coming. You talked to the others yet? Ah, well, you know how it is. Captain says one thing, Maybe we say another. Maybe we had a deal go sideways. Maybe it was politics. Maybe the deal was also kind of politics. See, old Captain likes an empire. Loves all the pomp and circumstance. Wronga, though. Nothing gets her madder than people thinking anyone could be born to wear a crown.
Many are born to wear a crown, but few have earned the privilege, and none of them deserve it.
Color me shocked if everyone shows up, but I'll be there. Shorts and all. And hey, thanks for getting this all set up. It'll be good to see the others again, even if it is the last time.
Don't have too much fun. This is where the captain told us to go.
You! What are you... Why are you here? Thirdborn? It wasn't safe here. Why would it be safe in... Wait. Old Nagunu? But he... I thought he wanted us dead. I don't understand. Are the others... Are they alive? Yeah, he would. He always trusted the captain. They were close. He doesn't act bright, but Taue, he's canny. Something's going on.
That bad feeling in your gut? You have it for a reason. The least you can do is heed its warning.
Maybe it's time to stop. Stop running. Stop hiding. Turn and face things. Face Nagunu. All right. I'll go. I'll go to Thirdborn. As soon as I can find the courage.
You won't have to look hard for courage. It's there for you to call upon when needed.
Thank you all. I'll try.
I hope it works out for him.
Gather round. Come on! Come all!
I thought I told you to bugger off. What do you want? I don't think so. Speak up or I walk. Well, I don't smell his rumstick flop sweat on the wind, so he can't be nearby. He must have sent you to do his dirty work. Go on then. Try to kill me. I know that's why you're here. Why do you think I was so rude to you the first time? Aside from despising you and everyone like you, I mean. I knew Nagunu or one of his lackeys would come sniffing around eventually. He's been trying to kill me for years. The man's obsessed. Oh, we robbed him. Well, Koa and I robbed him. That way just stood around while we did it. Not sure he even noticed. He told you he was a merchant, right? Well, he lied to you. We used to run guns. When the powers that be were fighting over Deadfire, we'd buy or steal munitions from Rawatai and sell them to the Republics. After the mortar fell, Nagunu started looking for a new master, and found a number of willing souls in Adir. Then your countrymen brought those same guns to the Living Lands and pointed them back at me. Couldn't have that. So Koa and I helped Nagunu set up one last big deal, stole the money, and dumped our hold into the sea. Sure, but when the plague's over, where do you think all those weapons would go? But that's old news, Envoy. What does Nagunu want? That's funny. Now tell me what he really said. A little reunion. Cute. What did Taue and Koa say to that? Naturally. Taue never saw a boot he wasn't keen to lick. And Koa? He's gotta be out of his mind. Well, my answer's the same either way. No. I'm sure he put on a good show for you. And shit, maybe he really is lonely. But I have no doubt he's been up in that little lighthouse of his in Thirdborn plotting our demise. So no, I won't share a drink with him, and you can tell him I said so. I surely hope so. So long, Envoy. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
If you're looking for the captain and his crew, they're upstairs. Mind taking these drinks up when you go?
My favorite envoy! Thank you for bringing us back together. I only regret that dear Runga couldn't join us, but she was always a shy one. Nonsense, nonsense. You did more than I could have, and more than any of us salty old dogs deserve. Oh, but I nearly forgot. Did the bartender send you up without drinks? It's not a reunion without a toast.
The captain promised us an aged rum.
I can't have much. I get queasy. Excellent, excellent. Here, envoy, a little something from my travels all those years ago. May it bring fortune to your journeys too. Now, make a toast for us. Give us all something more to drink to. To new times ahead.
To the healing of wounds.
Not all wounds can... I wish Rwanda were here. Drink. Drink!
I didn't think the rum was that bad.
For once, I'm grateful that I prefer wine.
Oh, my. What's happened to Koa?
I think he's dead, boss.
Dead? Why, this is tragic. Oh, it must have been his rum allergy. It always goes straight to his head.
I'm weeping myself silly.
It was a toast to remember, Envoy, but I'm afraid I must look after my friend now.
I believe the captain just made us unknowing accomplices to a crime.
I'll never forget what you did for me here. Oathbinder bless and keep you.
Sure is lovely here, don't you think?
Did you hear about Naguno? Found him dead in the lighthouse.
The old guy from the swordfish? No kidding.
Someone snuck up there when he was sleeping and slit his throat.
Damn. Wonder what he did to deserve that.
I bet it was spies that got him.
The Tyran spies?
Did he ever tell you how they almost made him a citizen once?
You're thinking he knew too much.
They've got little birdies everywhere.
Who needs that? We still have stuff. Now the crops are destroyed. Gods.
Oh, hey, Envoy.
You hungry? I might be able to help.
Oh, hey, Envoy. Be sure to check out our new bereavement sale. Get discounts on qualifying items. envoy.
You hungry? I might be able to help.
Ah, the godlike hero. You're back. Getting thirsty yet? Stay safe out there.
The oasis belongs to us all. Enjoy it, brother.
They're not going to be good enough. Did you see the attack? That's done. Child.
The Archmage certainly knows how to make a first impression.
I hadn't had a chance to see all this before. It's magnificent. Come on, let's go introduce ourselves to an Archmage.
dream scourge is getting worse. First our land, then our animals. Now our people. If we don't put a stop to it, we're looking at the end of the living lands. How can anyone expect us to do both? As if the Dream Scourge wasn't enough of a problem, the Adherents are profiting off our misfortune. They haven't come to help us. They're here to exploit our weakness. The Steel Garrote are a weapon. Who do you think wields them? It's too bad. We're fighting for our lives, our souls, and our freedom. I don't know if we can win all three. You really think so? My apologies for acting cynical, but it feels as if nature, politics, and even the very gods are working against us. I don't appreciate being backed into a corner, but here I am. Despite everything that's happened, I'm so grateful to be working with Yatzli. In many ways, Quilici has been like a second father to me. But Yatzli, she's like my dirty aunt who's up to no good. Oh, she's an expert in that field. While I have your attention, I've been thinking. Why is Inquisitor Ludwig suddenly interested in godless ruins? She's a smart one. I'll give her that. We should be ready for anything. Something tells me Ludwig isn't finished with us yet. Go on then. I'm listening. What are you so curious about? Anyone in particular? I warn you, I'm not the best judge of first impressions. Of course, she's brilliant, open to anything, and sees the world as she wants it to be. Yatzli gave me my first glass of wine, and the courage to approach a special someone. We have a lot of catching up to do. No one to get jealous over. To call it a relationship would be an insult to the word. But it was fun while it lasted. Animancy is the study of life. Unfortunately, we get so busy that we forget to live. So a little roll in the hay is good for the soul. Yatzli taught me that. Well, not the part about rolling in the hay. That was my idea, and I don't recommend it. Indeed, old friends. When they died, Yatzli protected me. Made sure I had one consistent person in my life. I think that's why she gave me that glass of wine. Why she encouraged me to live my life to the fullest. She was making sure I hit all the milestones I could have missed. Now that she's traveling with us, maybe she can teach you a thing or two. I think that covers everyone. And if my good opinion changes, you'll be the first to hear about it. You too.
For the camp of an official Adira envoy, I was expecting a little more. A proper bed, at least. But I suppose this will do for now. As long as you have a bath, of course. I always ask nicely. But as riveting as it is to complain about our accommodations, I imagine you have another topic in mind? I'm the only buyer you'll find here, and I already have the jar. A lesson for next time, darling. It's always worth some haggling. Unfortunately, it's been quite some time since I've met another who focused on the godless as I do, and I imagine I'd be more knowledgeable on the subject than anyone else you could find. Technically, yes. Well, it set me on the path, at least. When I got my first grimoire as a child, I was trying out some of the fancy new spells I'd been given. I was attempting a simple illusion spell, but I must have slurred my words. The next thing I know, everything was on fire. That was my assumption as well. Barrett's balls. It's nice to know I won't have to dumb things down with you. What is childhood but for silly things? When else can you get away with arson? My father was able to pull me from the flames as my mother doused them. I burned myself badly enough to give myself some vivid dreams, but the house still stood at the end. Of course. Now I only burn those that deserve it, like mosquitoes and university administrators. The only lasting damage was my burn mark and the dreams. Usually I enjoy a bit of pain, but this was a bit too much. I wouldn't recommend it. As delightful as you are, we've much to do and less time to do it in. Shall we go? Oh, Envoy, might I steal a moment of your time? Well, it's the waiting that makes the payoff so delicious, don't you agree? Look, I lost more research than I'd like to count, but Fiora and its people are safe. That's what matters. Thank you, Envoy. I don't know how you managed it, but whatever you did, you averted disaster. That being said, your ambassador is going to get an earful, and possibly a fistful, next time we're in Paradise. That's what happens when you're the breadbasket of the living lands. Sometimes things get stale. At least we were able to get everyone to safety. Though with everything happening in Thirdborn, safe might be relative. At least I know Temerity will keep an eye on them. I think she knows what'll happen if she doesn't. Long enough that I trust her to do her best by everyone. You see, Emerald Stair has Naku Tedek. For a young and aspiring godless scholar, it was a godsend, if you'll forgive the pun. And, as a young at heart godless scholar, I've traveled outside the stair to other ruins. That's how I met Temerity. Thirdborn's close to Naku Kubel. A girl's gotta eat sometime. Who says I did? I still go out often. I've cataloged many ruins, but there are always more. And coming home to a warm welcome is lovely. You should try it sometime, darling. Oh, part of it is my sparkling personality, of course. But a larger part of it is time. It's hard to hate someone when they drop by your lab with lunch after you've forgotten to eat again. It's so much easier to do when you're younger. Now, I enjoy eating and watching Quilici cook far too much. My mother always said that the way to a man's heart was through his stomach. Quilici and I got together the old-fashioned way, though. I saw a beautiful man across a smoky tavern. Then I dazzled him with my delightful personality. Then he showed me an abandoned ruin outside of town, and I was hooked. Oh, it's not a fairy tale, darling. We've been happy for the most part. Any rough patches got smoothed over well enough. I only thought about killing him once or twice. He's probably thought the same a bit more. It's hard to believe that things have changed so much recently. Any sense of safety just went poof. It makes you wonder how everything will turn out. Right. The city can be replaced, but not its residents. Thank you, Envoy. I feel a little less frazzled. I've got a lot to think on. Talk to you soon? Try not to have too much fun without me. How can I help, darling? We've been traveling together for a little while. I just have to know. Did you purposefully choose such colorful company, or is that just what you attract naturally? I mean, I'm very clearly a delight, so it's obvious why you let me stick around. But Kai's hiding a lot behind that humor of his, isn't he? Thinking that that could be Quilici in me is not something I want to think about. And Marius, I don't know what's lurking in him, but I do think he should speak to someone on it. If he reaches out, do try, will you? As for Giada, well, clearly Giada is a gem. As for me, well, I'm just as riveting as you, but the boys are giving me a run for my money. It is a lovely little perk, isn't it? But so is the ability to actually talk to any you meet. Don't discount it. You do strike me as a people person. Tell me, do you get along with all you meet? So, you'll be swarmed by will-wishers then, upon arriving home? And here I thought I had a wild youth exploring ruins. You might be putting me to shame, dearie. Quilici is quite good at knowing when to be sweet and when to be sour.
Yatzli, that's my surrogate father you're talking about? Spare my imagination, if you please.
Oh, you knew the risks when you came over uninvited, darling. It's on your head. Well, you've satisfied my curiosity. You know, Envoy, we've traveled enough that I think I've gotten a handle on your style. Style of fighting, I mean. Your fashion sense is more opaque. But listening to your incantations, they could use some tightening up. I could probably teach you a thing or two, if you're up for it. What do you say? How about I show you a little bit of everything? What? Out of breath already? Talk to one of the boys. See if they can help with your stamina, dear. Well, I've taught you all I can. Let's hope you put it to good use. I wish we could have done more for them. Capo and Chico, I mean. Not that Capo needs anything more from us. But if I were in his shoes, I hope I'd make the same choice. Though I'd like to pick a more fun way to die. Of course. Even when it's expected, or even preferable, it's always a tragedy. I can only hope that at the end I have some control over things. That I can go out as Yatzli. And don't you forget it. But it gives you something to think about. I mean, not everyone gets to come back like you did, Envoy. Well, that's all I had to say. I'll let you get back to whatever you were doing. Unless there's something else you want to chat about? How can I help, darling? These sudden changes in climb always mess with my coiffure. Does Adir have good fur maintenance products? Do you have a contact for that? Unfortunately, your clumsy countrymen ruined my entire stock of ointments when they were trying to burn my house down. And I'll remember that comment. Truly, just a good long brushing through all my fur alone would do wonders. I've got some time before we see Quilici again, at least. It'll give me time to find something to remind him of what he's missing. In life, you make your own entertainment. I enjoy scandalizing the small-minded when I can. Quilici and I got used to the stairs early on. Thankfully, at least in Fjord, those stopped eventually. After 30 years, it's hard to still be surprised by us just drinking at the Magpie. Oh, she was still young. Quilici offered to help her study for and prepare her thesis as a favor to her parents. She was over day and night for months, and, well, now she's family. We adore her. All things considered, it's hard to complain about my life in Fjord. You're too sweet. As much as I enjoy our little chats, dearie, we should really get going. Oh, but if you do end up finding any liniments, be sure to help a girl out. Well, I suppose you've earned that much. And I do enjoy rewarding tenacity. Though between your dreams and mine, it's a wonder anyone gets any sleep around here. You remember that I nearly burned my family home down when I was young? How do you think I got this scar on my shoulder? I could have sworn I told you this before.
That old chestnut gets more interesting every time she tells it.
No matter. To make a short story shorter, I decided to teach myself magic as a child and started with fire magic. I maimed my arm and nearly turned my home into ash. Anyway, my parents were able to stop me before the home was completely lost. Small comfort to my parents, of course. Well, shortly after all that fuss, the dream began. It started at first with a fire. Just flames, crackling, and a feeling of safety. I thought it was a little weird, but nice. But then the dream kept coming back, night after night. I learned more every time. I saw that it was a fire in a hearth, and that hearth was in an old library. I assumed it was a library, at least, to explain why there were so many tablets lining the walls. A man after my own heart. In the library, there's just one person, but they're wearing a hood, so I never see their face. They do the same thing every night. They curl up in a chair by the fire, hold a tablet to their chest, and then the fear comes. The paralyzing, all-encompassing fear of something. Just the noise. A low, deep banging starts, and it rattles through your bones and shakes you to your core. And it replaces the beat of your heart with this droning on and on and on until you forget every other sound you've ever heard.
A beat. Steel feet on the shore. They come by night.
And then, as it just gets louder and louder, and right before it gets there, I wake up.
You've been listening to too many of Giada's ghost stories.
And let me tell you, waking up in a cold sweat does nothing for my fur. How sibilant. No. Just that it's all-encompassing. It's strange. I've not told many of the details of my dream. I suppose I must like you quite a bit, Envoy. Don't let it inflate your ego too much. I suppose we should try and get some rest now. I'll have some tea ready for when we awaken later. You think those Adirans were onto something? Do you think they can really cure the Dream Scourge? You may be right. I just hope we made the right decision. You took the words right out of my mouth, Envoy. Now that the researchers can research, think of what we'll learn. A cure might sound far-fetched, but what if they find treatments for the Dream Scourge? And even other ailments? Oh, I can't wait to see how far they've come when we see them again. Well, that's all I had to say. I'll let you get back to whatever you were doing. Unless there's something else you want to chat about? How can I help, darling? Careful what you wish for, darling. So, the Godless, or the Akita, as they called themselves, were the original folks who lived in the Living Lands. They arrived on the shores of a new land and settled there, living with the land instead of trying to tame it. You sound certain. Well, that would align with my own findings. But how could you know that? Oh, well, I should definitely trust that. But dubious metaphysics notwithstanding, you corroborate my theory. The Godless are so singular. Their art and architecture, you never see it in Rawatai or Ishamatal or, well, Adir. But in their artwork, they reference escaping, fleeing, seeking refuge, so they must have come from somewhere. My guess, they originally came from Yezua. Yezua, a continent, cut off from the rest of the world, hidden by eternal storms, one of the 3 hubs of the Angwithan Empire. 10 years ago, you could say it wasn't real, that it was a dream, but they said the same of Ukaiso. Suddenly, the appearance of a mythical land doesn't seem so implausible. There was some kind of schism, an ideological one. From what I can glean, the Godless were staunchly against the gods, hence their name. There are even some not-so-kind murals of the gods. It seems like the Godless really took their anti-theism seriously. I know! Well, I think we've covered everything, don't you? Rather, as much as I think you'll withstand. Hope you enjoyed talking about this as much as I did, dearie. How can I help, darling? Careful what you wish for, darling. So, the Godless, or the Akita, they arrived... You? Huh. But... Yeah... I hope you... Don't mind if I do.
Thirdborn. If it weren't for the Leviathan skeleton in the middle of town, I'd hardly recognize the place. Well, that's what I'm trying to nail down. You ever come back to a place and feel like the buildings are smaller and the colors are duller? And home just wasn't the same. Thirdborn was always this rugged oasis. Dangerous and out of the way, but bursting with vitality. It was a harbor for larger-than-life types. People like Capo, the Leviathan Slayer, and Tama. Glory seekers, trophy hunters, warriors trying to leave their battles behind. People who built around their stories and their scars. Me too. Being back. It felt like we were watching Thirdborn die a slow death. Yeah, but I thought age was supposed to bring wisdom. Something to balance out the back pains and creaky knees. I think what's eating at me is that Thirdborn seems rudderless. The Dream Scourge is one threat. Conflict with Adir is another. The Living Lands is changing, and Thirdborn feels like a barnacle on a moving ship. Temeriti's leading them as best she can, but towards what? What are we doing out here besides surviving? Or it'll go the way of the Godless and their ruins. Not sure which idea makes me more uneasy. What about you? You were sent by your Emperor to investigate the Dream Scourge. Since then, you've died, met a secret god, and gotten swept up in tensions between your empire and our scattered settlements. Between releasing Egwolf and thwarting the Steel Garrote and Emerald Stair, you've opposed your empire's interests. Do you know what you're sailing towards, or are you drifting with the tides? That kind of clarity is rare. Thanks for talking. I hope Thirdborn is able to find its way somehow. Tama's memory. Never knew how to separate it from this place. And the longer I stayed away, the harder it felt to come back. Until you came along, I thought I'd be able to avoid it forever. Thirdborn's missing a lot of familiar faces. And the youngsters who've grown up and the new arrivals, they seem green. Like they're cut from a different cloth, a more delicate one.
This plague is tearing everything apart at the seams. Healing may take years, if not generations.
Maybe you're both right. Thirdborns only survived because the people were tougher than the wilds. I just hope the people living behind those walls know how to keep them standing. Yeah, it was tough to see him like this. He'd just given up, and we let him do it. It should have been Chico's too. You helped me come to terms with losing Tama. I just worry we've robbed Chico of that chance. Maybe so. And about Capo's secret.
Yatzli, when all of this is behind us, are you going back to Fiorme Severno?
It's hard to imagine leaving forever, especially with Quilici still there. Well, what about you, dearie?
Even if I could go back, it wouldn't be the same. Who knows? Maybe getting banished was the best thing that's happened to me in a while.
Maybe Fior was holding you back, and you can return one day to rub all your success in their faces.
You're too kind to me, Yatzli. I don't deserve you.
For all you put up with from me, I'm sure I could be kinder. But I'm always happy to help.
Listening to Yatzli's thoughts about godless ruins is one thing. Bringing her along for the rest of the trip is something else. Right. Soap is useful sometimes, but I don't pour it in my drinks. If she's read anything about the garden, it was written centuries ago. Obviously, things have changed since then. Bothered? Pedraku. It's my job to guide you as safely as possible. What you're doing isn't safe. I'll go along with whatever you decide. Just don't be disappointed when she doesn't show you what you wanted to see. Anyway. Ask away. What else is there? No idea. What do you need? Right, changing the subject. Pleasant dreams. I suppose if you're on a wild goose chase, there are worse places to do it. At least I know how to deal with those sorts of things. Rope, lantern, extra water skins. Yatzli's got you going in all sorts of abandoned ruins. Who knows what's down there? More questions, most likely? And spiders. How come the answers are never in a little oasis with shade and drink service? I just want to make sure we've covered all the options before we dive headfirst into another deadly ruin. Right. Just keep it in mind, I guess. Anyway. Not before I've done some reading.
Seeds of change. Their petals sprout across the barren land. They sing to the unwanted ones, and the unwanted ones sprout in turn. The soil remembers what it once was. It will soon be whole, safe. A name given to the land, not asked for. You see why the parasites are loathed? The soil does not want these cities. It yearns for silence, for the kestrel song. But first, the sprouted ones will grow. They will bring the stillness and the bird song. The dam falls. The river returns to its source. It is how the land was and should always be. We want all of them gone. We wish for life to flourish again. Efforts paid in blood. They lie to the earth, to themselves. Death nourishes the soil. All things come from the rot. The dead bear nourishes the pack. We ponder, dream of shifting sands now. We will speak again.